There's one last player that we have to talk about. One more player we have to talk about. Consensus has this man at number 5. Aaron, you have this man at number 1. Some people might not even know who Christian Watson is. You should know who Christian Watson is, but tell us why you have him at number 1, where most people have him just around 10, 8 maybe. Highest I've seen. Well, Chris Sims had him at number 1 too, so maybe you're on the same page as Chris Sims, but why do you have Christian Watson?
First, I'll start with just the measurables, right? I mean, you're talking about a dude that is 6'4", 210 pounds, runs 4.3. I mean, he jumps out of the gym at almost a 40-inch vertical. He's super athletic, right? So you're just not finding guys with that level of athletic ability that are that big. He's a natural pass catcher, reliable hands. He goes up and gets 50-50 balls with a guy that has that speed. He's been elite in the special teams game as a kick returner. I mean, this guy can play everywhere. Slot, you want to put him in the slot and tell him to go make plays, he can. He has long arms to get off of defensive backs. He plays fast. He's confident, which I love at the receiver position. I like guys that know that they can go out and say, I don't care who you put in front of me, I can beat them. I just think he can do and fit into any scheme. I will tell you the weaknesses everybody's going to point out. He plays at North Dakota State University, right?
No, I've got a weakness.
Well, let me finish.
Okay, I thought
he plays it. He plays at North Dakota State University. And another issue is obviously the fact that he didn't have the high level of production as the top wide receivers. But people don't realize North Dakota is a run-first team. They don't throw the ball very much at all, if ever. And so you see a 43 catches for 800 yards, and you're like, oh, that's not blowing anybody out of the water. But he was the main guy there. He was their playmaker. They just don't throw the ball a whole lot there. And the fact of the matter is he had some drop issues. But I want the athletic ability of a guy like this that I feel like can translate and play in any scheme in any system in the NFL. And again, his athletic ability is off the charts. I don't know what else you want from the man. I think he has it all.
See, I was going to point out the drops, and when you look at the numbers here, this is the list of the drop percentage for like most of the top wide receivers in this draft class. You look at Christian Watson there at the bottom right, he's got the highest at 12.7%. You already brought up the fact that at North Dakota State, they were more of a run-first team, and this guy still has the worst drop percentage.
Yeah, because he's not seeing the ball. He only getting 60 targets a year.
Does that not obviously that has to concern you, but like that's where and you have, but
it doesn't.
I get I'm not saying that he's not talented and he shouldn't be a high draft pick, but at number 1, that's a stretch to me.
Well, again, this is not about where you draft these guys, because I'm not telling anybody that Atlanta should draft Christian Watson ahead of Garrett Wilson or ahead of Jameson Williams or ahead of maybe Chris Olave, but I'm not telling them that they get drafted that way. I'm telling you that when these guys get to the NFL, and in 2 years, we're saying which wide receiver was the best out of that draft class, it's going to be Christian Watson. Because the fact of the matter is you can't teach what he has, and the drops could be an issue. But I can remind you of many receivers in the NFL that had drop issues, including one that we could argue is one of the top 3 receivers of all time in Terrell Owens, who dropped ball after ball after ball. But his playmaking ability and his ability to play the game of football just superseded the drops. And we've seen guys, receivers drop footballs. Running backs we see come in with fumble issues, and some coaches can fix that, some can't. But I'm not looking at his drops and I'm saying, well, that takes me from who I think is going to be the top rated wide receiver, and now I'm worried about him. He's going to be my number 5 guy. No, thank you. Give me that guy that can make plays. And if he drops a ball or two, hey, I'll live with it. Deontay Johnson led the NFL in drops 1 year. The next year, he had 2 drops the entire season. I think those are concentration issues that can be fixed within a player. And as they mature, I think that also improves. So he just has everything to me. He has the most upside for me.
What's his ceiling, you think?
I mean,
as far as like top receiver in the league type.
Yeah, like in
put it this way.
Where is he?
I can see Christian Watson being better than like year by year 3 or 4. I would have him over guys like DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, like right in that area.
He is a physical specimen. I mean, the dude's 6'4", runs a 4.3. Like, he's got burners. And you talk about not being able to catch the ball. Guys like that, when you're not seeing the ball so much, you get so excited because you know what you can do with the ball in your hands. And the first thing you're doing at this young age is you're attacking the pass and you're ready thinking about the next move. That's something that you polish up in the pros. So I'm not too worried about his drop too, because I've watched him catch it at the high point, and what he can do after is just another crazy stat for some other people. But the other thing I want to point out that people are saying is the fact that he comes from a small school. If there's ever a position to me that I don't really worry about the competition you play, it's wide receiver. If you can play wide receiver, you can play wide receiver. Some of the best wide receivers in NFL history came from small colleges. We talk about Antonio Brown from Western Michigan, I think it was, Central Michigan. Cooper Kupp, Eastern Washington. Devontae Adams, Fresno State. Jerry Rice, the best receiver of all time, went to Mississippi Valley State. If you can play receiver, you can play receiver. Marquise Brown, N'Keal Harry went before A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, and Deebo Samuel. Who do you think is better of those five? If you can play receiver, I don't care if you went to North Dakota State. I don't care if they change rules. You get drafted out of high school. Bring that ass. Let's go.
You didn't even mention the fact that the other two top 3 receivers, Randy Moss played at Marshall. T.O. played for, I can't even remember what school he went to, but it wasn't a big school. Like those guys, it doesn't matter. If you can run routes, catch a football, and make plays, you can play in the NFL. And I don't think being at a small school really matters. Not to mention Calvin Johnson, okay, Georgia Tech. They did not throw the ball a whole lot. And he was the number 2 overall draft pick. And people were like, physically, he's special, but he never got a lot of work. It didn't matter. He's one of the greatest receivers we've ever seen. So not saying Christian Watson's Calvin Johnson, everybody. Calm down.
Whoa.
But, I'm just saying.
Maybe not with the thick lower half and everything.
YouTube critics have lost their mind.